Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This could be an interesting one. Anyway, we'll do the usual bit of housekeeping first. All things in order. Please don't forget to like, comment on, and share the stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure you hit that bell icon, and you will be given notification of new content as and when it arrives on the channel. And as always, we thank you very much indeed for your support in this matter. And speaking of all things support, why don't you consider supporting the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity? This is a charity that ourselves at Falls from Iron and many other YouTube channels besides like to try and give a bit of support to. If you don't know what this is a charity that works in the Newham Borough area that is solely working on getting food on the plates of needy families in the Newham Borough area. So it's a really worthwhile cause. You've got a Just Giving link there. I will copy and paste it and put it into the live chat. So if any of you want to go directly to the Just Giving page and put a few quid in, you're more than welcome to do so. That's absolutely fine. And we would encourage you to do so. Thank you for your support. We're obviously here to discuss the goings on yesterday. Match day 3 of 38 in the Premier League at London Stadium. It was another disappointing outing. I can't lie. I was there, and we lost 2-0. I don't really know what to say, boys. We've got Steve 50, who was also at the game, and we had a little chat at half time and full time. I'll let Steve as the guest. I'll let him have a little go first, Duke. But I know you're absolutely straining at the leash to get things off your chest. So, Steve, what was your initial assessments on things subsequently?
Well, I mean, having looked at the game yesterday and reflected upon it, I would have had more fun hitting myself over the head with a lump of wood than watching that game. It was awful. I've put on various chats, Hammer's chat, guys. Normally, I can get up the next morning and find something positive about the game. That's just me. After many, many years of supporting West Ham, you grab onto the thin straws that you can find sometimes. Nothing yesterday. It was awful. For people who are getting paid in excess of £50,000 a week, I'm sorry, it's not acceptable. If I went into my job and put in that much effort, I'd get sacked. It just wouldn't be allowed to stand. Souček, I said on the brief review we had, initial reactions, I have a theory. Souček is best suited when we play counter-attacking because it's defensive and insights proving tough. Sorry, Richard. When we play a defensive game, that's fine because it doesn't rely on his touch, his control, anything else as much. He's there to tackle and head. You play like we are now, he's found out because he hasn't got that level of skill. I thought Bowen was poor. I thought Rice was poor. I thought Creswell was a disaster waiting to happen. And when the second goal went in, I laughed because I could see it coming. Totally clueless. I've seen some bad West Ham performances over the years. I've been watching them since the 70s. But that could easily get into my top 5, which I never thought I'd see again. But just running around and clueless. And I'm not impressed. Anyway, over to you, Duke.
Oh, he's rubbing his chin. That's not usually a good sign.
Is it me or is Duke breaking up?
I think your sound's gone all Norman Collier, mate.
Yeah, it's clicking, isn't it?
I think
he's left.
It's sometimes what you need to do is go out and then come back in. So I'm sure he'll be back momentarily. But I mean, I'm the same as you, Steve. I like to try and find somewhere within a match or any situation in life. I try to find as hard as I can some sort of crumb of comfort to make you sort of go, maybe it's not as bad as all that. I can't do it. And we spoke before we've started the broadcast, and the thing that concerned me was at the end of the match, and I don't know if anybody else has seen this, but at the end of the match, David Moyes goes onto the pitch to shake hands with various people from both sides, and he went up to Jared Bowen, and my interpretation of it is that the body language from Bowen was like he really didn't want to engage with his manager, just sort of put an arm out, didn't even make eye contact with him. I don't want to engage with you, mate. And that was quite concerning, I thought. How about yourself, Duke?
Yeah, to be honest with you, is my audio better now?
Yes, much better.
Yeah.
Okay, good. No, I don't know where to start, Rob, to be honest with you. I'll come back to the Bowen thing in a minute. I don't know where to start. I was positive going into the game. I thought we were going to get a draw. I thought, listen, they're our hoodoo side. What I didn't expect was the players, not necessarily Moyes. Moyes has to take a certain portion of the blame for his stubbornness. There has to be some account laid at his door for not using the players, that we've gone out and bought. I get we can't use a Gerd at the minute, but when you've got a 36 million pound striker sitting on the bench, when you've got a 15 million pound left winger sitting on the bench, when you've got a 12.5 million pound central midfielder sitting on the bench, and your insistence on playing the likes of Souček, the likes of Bowen. I'm not digging out for nows, but what is he offering us? Any other place down the line at the moment, apart from pressing? As Steve mentioned a minute ago, if you rock up at work and you don't give your all or you perform shabbily, then conversations are going to be had, questions are going to be asked. Moyes doesn't seem to be doing that right now. So there needs to be some questions laid at the feet of Moyes, of his coaching staff. But there has to be questions levelled at the players. Now, I am a very, very big advocate that if players are not performing on the pitch and a manager gets sacked, I'll get riled up at that, okay? Now, listen, we're not Manchester United, okay? I saw something the other day where a Man U fan, Jesus crap, that dog scared the crap out of me.
She's sitting right by me. How do you think it was for me?
Yeah. The Manchester United, as a Twitter page, will put up a picture of the Glaziers outside looking up at I think it was the Glaziers, it was the back of them, looking up at a burning Old Trafford, okay?
Right.
Now, someone made a TikTok video off of the back of another tweet, and basically said Man U fans have been given everything that they asked for. They wanted Moyes. We want Moyes gone. We want, Ancelotti. We want Ancelotti gone. Or we want Ole. We want Ole gone. We want Mourinho. We want Mourinho gone. We want Ten Hag. We want Ronaldo back. We want this player. We want that player. They were given everything that they asked for, and they're still not happy. Okay. Now, we're not that fan base. We're not that fan base. We just ask for, not being funny. This is that fan base has come off the back of X amount of Premier League championships in X amount of years, FA Cup wins, European Championship, Champions League, all the rest of that bollocks. And yet we're sitting here right now and we're just asking for players to turn up, Rob. That's where I'm at. I don't know about you guys and the rest of the people out in the world, West Ham fans out in the world. I just want the players to fucking turn up. Again, another game where Jared Bowen looks like he has absolutely fucking zero interest in pulling on a West Ham shirt. Again, I don't know what's going on with the big potato salad eating bastard. And listen, I still love him to pieces. I think he's a great player, and I think there's a great player in there. What are we doing? What are we doing to get the best out of him? What are we doing to change Jared Bowen's mentality when he puts on a West Ham shirt? What are we doing to, pull Lanzini and Fornells to one side and go, what's going on? What Muskamaka, Cornet, Aguerd, Downs is probably feeling this as much as any West Ham fan right now because he is one and he's slap bang in the middle of it. He's probably feeling as pained as we are this morning because he's slap bang in the middle of it as a fan. He's living our dream at the moment, currently a nightmare. What is, we spoke the other day, what's Traore looking at when he's looking at this on the outside? 10 million quid. No, you're right. Thanks anyway. I'm not interested. I have no interest in going to West Ham. Why they are like they are right now. What happens? I mean, I watched Gonzo's video about 20 minutes before I came on, and he was talking about Sullivan now not sanctioning any more deals for Moyes type players because in 3 or 4 games time, by the time we finish playing Spurs or Chelsea, he might not be there anymore. So what's the point in sanctioning signing of a Moyes type player when I'll come to that in a minute. When Moyes might not be there, he might just go out Sullivan now and really stick booting and go after Memphis Depay. He might go after another couple of Silverman signings, the agent. He might go after Warburton's sister's agency lot. Because he's thinking, well, sod it. Again, Gonzo said, why am I going to sanction players when you ain't using them? You're saying that these players need time to bed in. Well, the players that we've got are currently playing like they've got one leg. And just to question what Ken said, Mark Noble's actually trending on Twitter this morning, as I put in the chat, Rob, and I was going to give you the answers, but what it was interfering. I had 2 screens running, and it was interfering with my audio and stuff. Basically, him and Pierce are trending on Twitter because their names are being mentioned most across the Twitter universe, right? Yeah. Because people are blaming this current setup, problems, call them what you will, on the fact that we've lost Pierce. Warburton's coming, and he's no Pierce. We're missing Noble. People asking if we can sign Noble on a free transfer. People asking Noble to come back. There's a lot of this, and I'm inclined to agree. I think, but as Happy's just said, I love Moyes to pieces, and I think he's led us to 2 of our more successful seasons in more than 20 odd years, Rob. But do something different. It's predictable. Graham Potter, during his interview on Friday or Saturday, if asked, could have put out the West Ham 11 without even knowing who the West Ham 11 were going to be. He could have told the press Moyes' tactics before Moyes had even fucking set up a side. We all knew. The world knew. And people are questioning why Potter can get the better of David Moyes is because David Moyes is currently so predictable with what we've got. He likes a 4-2-3-1 or he likes a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2 or whatever you want, 3-5-1-1, I don't know. That's it. He has no intention of mixing it up. He has no intention of changing things around. And I'm scared, Rob. I am so scared that within the next 3 games, we're still going to be sitting flat bottom of the league with very, very minimal goals scored and 0 points.
I think that's a possibility, actually. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I could see us having no points after 6 games. If we played like we did yesterday, we're going down. I mean, let's be absolutely blunt about it. If West Ham turn up and put it together like they did yesterday against Brighton, we're relegated. That was a performance that is a relegation performance, and it shouldn't be happening. You can't moan at the board for not getting their wallets out. They have, and that for once, no blame on the board here. They've sanctioned a lot of purchases. Moyes has got.
He ain't using them.
No, exactly.
Well, isn't that concerning, lads? Because I'm not being funny. You remember the last game of last season, which coincidentally enough was against Brighton, and we lost it 3-1. And he was on record as saying it wasn't good enough. I'm going to rip it up, blah, 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 blah. 3 Premier League games. And I'm fairly sure I'm right in saying this. We've only had one of the new signings starting in any of those 3 games. And that was Carey yesterday.
Mm.
Yeah, but there's the point though, Rob, isn't it? Sorry, Steve. We're just going to do just this one thing. And then, Steve, you can carry on.
Yeah.
He's saying, Rob, that they're not ready to start. These players need bedding in. These players need time to get to know the squad. Yet there goes Kera, literally less than 24 hours after he signed for us last week, on the bench and coming off the bench to play against Viborg. And after, 4 days since he signed, he's dropped straight into the starting lineup. And to be fair, did look out of depth. I'm not blaming him on that. I'm blaming the fact that there's been a lack of time for him. Sorry, Steve, carry on.
Yeah, if I was in Moyes' position now, I'd be focusing on shutting up shop and grinding out every single point we could get. Because we're not going to go out and beat teams on level terms. We've got to get points ugly. Because there isn't the commitment there at the moment to get them any other way. He's got to go to Villa surely and just shut up shop and hope we nick one. I think that's all we can do. We can't go out and play expansively against them. We'll get ripped to shreds. And I think this is very sad because we were all at the last City game, last time game of the season, and we were buzzing, weren't we? All 3 of us. We played brilliantly that day, absolutely outstanding. And from that City game to here, I don't recognise the team.
Nope.
I can't. I had something gone on in the background we don't know about. Now, a lot of people will say, "Oh, the players are unhappy." Well, get over yourself. You're getting more in a week than I get in 2 or 3 years. Sort yourselves out. Sort your attitude out. Stop being entitled twits. Get up off your backside and earn your money. Oh, I don't like the way this is. So what? You're happy to pick up your salary, aren't you? If you're that unhappy, say, no, I'm not accepting my salary until this is changed. But they won't do that. So
Sorry, Steve. No, I was going to say that Mick's put a question in the chat, and I guess it's probably aimed at the other members of the chat, but let's just hypothetically speaking, let's just create a scenario where we lose 1-0 to Viborg but go through, struggle through against them, get beat at Villa, get our trousers pulled down by Spurs, and at that point David Sullivan says, right, I'm going to press this red button now and jettison Moyes. Who replaces him realistically?
I think Sullivan will go for Benitez. He loves Benitez.
Ooh.
It might not be what everybody wants, but I bet you he would have a conversation with Benitez if it hasn't happened already. I mean, I don't want Moyes to fail.
Yes, that was.
Yeah, I want Moyes to succeed. I think he can succeed. But it's how much. It's not like it was in his days at Everton where he could be given lots of time. The Premier League doesn't work like that anymore.
No.
The money is... Relegation is too much financial hit. And therefore, it needs to be it will be quick and decisive, and that's what you see with managers. And Moyes said it himself: managers don't get signed today, but there's a very good reason for that. Clubs can't afford to lose £150 million by getting relegated.
How about you, Duke? Who would be your candidate to replace David Moyes should it come to that situation?
Sorry, boys. I just had to see Joe and the kids out again for a couple of hours. I've seen some comments. I've seen some names. I've seen some absolute fucking Disney DreamWorks and all the rest of it going on. To be honest with you, fantasy football. People mentioning names like Pochettino and like behave stuff. He ain't coming anywhere near this club. Right, he ain't coming anywhere near this club. Is he going to want to work with the owners? Probably not. Is he going to want to work at West Ham the way they're playing at the minute? Most definitely not. I don't think. There's one name that was mentioned yesterday. Now, I'm not advocating for Moyes out. I want to clear that up straight away. Okay, I am not advertising Moyes out. I am not sitting here, and I'm certainly not jumping on that bandwagon. The question's been asked. Am I cracking up again?
No, you're good.
Okay, good.
Lads, I'll be back in a minute. Just give me a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
The question's been asked in the chat, so I'm going to ask the question. Do I think Moyes is on very thin ice? Yes. Do I think Moyes, if we don't pick up anything in our next 3 league games, which is looking very unlikely, do I think he's gone? Yes. Am I advocating? No. Not a chance, John. I'm sorry. He ain't a Premier League manager.
Oh, do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if he was an interim appointment.
Yeah, no, I'll go with that. What I will say is there was one name that was mentioned yesterday and it scared the shit out of me. It was mentioned on Cyber's Facebook account. I told him to behave himself. He mentioned Sean Dyche. He mentioned Dyche. No is the answer. I don't even want him. It's not even a case of could we get him? Yeah, we probably could. Do I want him? I tell you what, there's probably 2 managers right now that I want. Would either of them come to West Ham? One possibly, the other one not a chance. One's Eddie Howe up at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Right. I've got a lot of time for Eddie Howe. I think he's a fantastic manager. I actually wanted him before we got Moyes the second time, to be perfectly honest with you. I really did want Eddie Howe. And I think I mentioned it on here at some point. And would we've gone slightly well. The other one would be Scott Parker at Bournemouth.
Wow.
Oh, I'm losing everyone.
Oh dear. He's dropped out. His internet's bottomed out. Oh dear. I've told him not to go onto the Wi-Fi on the kebab shop that's across the road. Well, since the question's been asked, and I need to give an answer to this, there's 2 managers that I would think that we could realistically attract, hopefully. And one of them was in the other dugout yesterday, Graham Potter. I think if David Moyes was to go tomorrow, and I'm on record as saying, if David Moyes went tomorrow, personally, I think Graham Potter would be a great shout. Whether he would come in the current situation with Brighton where they are and we where we are, I don't know. Are we a bigger club than Brighton? With all due respect to Brighton and Hove Albion, yes. I know that they have a little bit of a hex against us and have done for about the last 10 years. That's fine. But are West Ham a bigger club in terms of the fan base, in terms of the history, in terms of pretty much every factor? Yeah, we are. So maybe we could attract him. Maybe. He would be one. The other one is Brendan Rodgers. I really do rate Brendan Rodgers as a manager. And I wonder if what's going on at Leicester, because they haven't made a signing even still, to the best of my knowledge. Could it be that he might sort of think, it isn't working out for me here at the King Power Stadium, and he could be maybe someone that we could look at. Sorry, Duke, I was just filling in some time there by giving my thoughts. You obviously dropped out, so please continue.
Internet plays. Internet plays stop your bollocks. No, I just heard what you said there about Rodgers. I get Steve's comment about Benitez. You know, I don't think Potter would leave Brighton right now. I think they're flying. But again, you got to think, right? Gonzo alluded to it on his video this morning over on the forum. Players we've got, what have they all got one thing in common? They're all Moyes type players.
They're fairly
They all fit. They all fit a Moyes type system. You ain't going to get the same tune out of those players if you bring in Graham Potter, Harry Potter's dad.
Yeah,
right? You ain't going to work.
Some major surgery needed.
Cool. Listen, whoever comes in, there's going to be major surgery needed. Whoever comes in, regardless, no one plays in the same sort of style as Moyes. Okay. Now the question is, does someone come in, a Rodgers, a Dyche, a Benitez, Eddie Howe, Scott Parker? Do they come in and do they put their foot down with what's going on in the middle of the park with Rice and Souček? Because I do believe, me personally, Kieran, we're not saying he's going to be sacked. Doesn't seem plausible. Chances are we don't win in the next 3 games, mate, or we lose the next 3. He's going to be sacked. I think it's a no-brainer. He's going to end up going.
First time it's happened.
I'm not advocating Moyes out. I'm sitting here now saying I want the man in the job. I think he's the best man at the job at the minute.
Yeah.
3 weeks' time could be a different story. Now, does a manager come in and deal with the Souček Rice debacle that's happening right now? Because I think this is having a huge input on what goes on the pitch. I believe that there's probably some animosity between certain players to other certain players, whether that's animosity towards Declan Rice, because his insistence on wanting to be the midfielder that goes forward, which then creates animosity towards Souček because Souček isn't the best defensive midfielder in the world. You know, are we? Is there animosity towards Thomas Souček because he's shit at being a defensive midfielder, but he doesn't have the choice of being there? Is there animosity towards Jared Bowen because he's not putting in the effort on the pitch? Is there animosity from the four new signings that are sitting there going, well, I want to play, and Moyes is going, well, no, you ain't good enough right now, or you ain't ready for this shit. Well, what's the situation? What's going on? I'm scared right now for my football club. I'm worried for my football club right now. But the simple fact is that right now there seems to be no motivation, as Ken's just put there about Parker. There's no motivation for that squad right now. There's no one in there motivating them. Do we miss Stuart Pearce? Hugely. We miss that. Not being funny. If I'm coming off the pitch and I've put in a worse than abject, woeful performance, and I've got Mark Warburton standing there, fuck off, mate, go make your bread. Or I walk off the pitch and I've got Psycho standing there ready to chew my face off. Yeah, you know what? No, you're all right. I'll put in that performance. You know, the same would have been for the likes. I don't understand that. Julian Dix. I would have been, for me, as not even as a fan of Julian Dix, but as a player playing under him, I'd be shit scared to come off the pitch in front of that player or that person and have put in a worse than abject performance, because I know that I'm going to have my heart and soul ripped out of my chest because of these, because of what it means to these players. These guys put in 110%. So I think there's probably some animosity running throughout the squad. There's animosity aimed at the coaching staff. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get on to the player ratings, ladies and gentlemen. This should be interesting.
No.
Yeah, there it is. There is the 11.
Go on.
Yeah, it could well be. Obviously, I'm aware, Duke, that your time is sort of like quite limited. So
Yeah.
if you're okay with it, Steve, if I'll go with Duke first of all, and then we'll come
Yeah.
back to yourself for a crack on this. Is that okay?
Absolutely fine. Yeah.
All right, mate. Thank you. Okay, Duke, let's start between the sticks. Lucas Fabianski, could he have done better, or is he blameless?
4. Again, very, very slow in releasing. I was going to say 6 like Kent for the fact that he, well, but I'm going to go 4. There were 6 occasions. Now, I was lucky enough to see the game in the south of France yesterday, and I was standing there screaming to release the ball. Earlier, he's standing there, either ball at feet, ball in hands. Like he's got all the time in the world. Fuck me, we're losing. Get your finger out your arsehole. Get that ball forward. Let's start playing some football. No, we'll just stand around. So it's a 4 for me.
Wow, 4. Aaron Cresswell.
4.
Ooh, brutal. Go on.
Just to be honest with you, mate, there's a lack of cohesion. There's a lack of desire throughout this squad. And I'm going from back to front. There's a lack of desire, drive, want, determination. I don't know why. I don't know what's happened in the last 3 months to bring us to this point. It's all awful. It's all piss poor. 4.
Oh, on debut, Thilo Kehrer.
First things
penalty,
first.
didn't he?
Wasn't a penalty. Tackle actually started outside the box. Free kicks are given from the moment of initial contact, not where they decide to take another 2 steps and fall over in the box. Welcome.
No, it is if the contact continues into the box, mate. It is a pen.
No, the initial contact outside, bollocks. I don't agree with it. I don't blame him for. Listen, he was off pace. I'm going to give him a 5.
5. Okay. Kurt Zuma, who I think
4.
it's fair to say was culpable for the opener.
4. Guy's meant to be a leader out there, as far as I'm concerned. In that back 4, he should be the leader. He should be the one taking charge, scruff the neck. Come on, let's go. Behind Declan Rice, for me, it goes Kurt Zuma, and I saw none of that yesterday. None of that. I'm going to give him a 4.
Okay. Vladimir Kufel.
4. Friend. Very, again, quite woeful from him. He scares me. In 1 minute, he can be this marauding, fullback that gets forward and puts some good crosses in and does a great job. And then more often than not, we're seeing what we saw yesterday, and there's no productivity out of him, defensively or attacking.
Fair enough. The captain, Declan Rice.
4, and he's lucky to get that. I'm seeing no motivation from El Capitano. I'm seeing no drive. I'm seeing no grabbing this and dragging your team through. I'm seeing no standing up for his teammates on the football pitch. I'm not seeing a captain, Rob. What I'm seeing is basically a prick who doesn't care. And the fact that he can go on and go, oh, it's quite upsetting to hear the boos. How about fucking perform on the pitch then? How about put in a shift? How about stand up and be counted as the guy with the armband on? Bollocks. 2. I'm gonna mark him down 2 points for the stupid fucking comments about the fact that it's not nice to hear the boos. Go fuck yourself and put in a performance.
Expecting?
Yeah.
And dare I ask, if he gets the 2, does he get your 0 award, or?
Yeah, go on, bollocks.
You're going to give him a 0.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
never thought I'd do that to Declan Rice. Never ever thought.
I've got a funny feeling the hero might not actually get utilised today.
No, it won't. Put it in the bin. Delete it.
Thomas Souček.
I'm actually going to give him a 2. No, I'm going to go 4. I'm actually going to be relatively nice here. Again, another abject performance. Again, Declan Rice would have got a 4, but his stupid comments after the game give him a 2. 4 for Souček. Again, he's at a point where he's wandering around. He's at a point where he's struggling to make any kind of impact on the game. Whether or not, again, like I say, that's because people are not wanting to pass to him, whether or not that's because they don't expect the pass to go anywhere afterwards, whether or not that they're, despising the fact that he's having to sit or he wants to go forward. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to give him a 4.
Okay. How did you think Benny performed on the left wing yesterday?
Tried at times, Rob. That's what I'm going to give you. To be honest with you, we didn't have enough of the ball going forward in decent positions. I can manage that. What's the matter with you? A little bit. Again, we didn't have enough of the ball going forward, Rob, for any of these forward 4 to warrant anything in the grand scheme of things. He tried on the few occasions. I'm going to give him a 4, but he tried on a few occasions that he got the ball, but he didn't have enough of the ball. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a little bit starved. He had a good sort of cut inside and shot in the first half that just went wide. But do you know, before you go on, the thing that also
just went wide. It was about 4 foot.
Well, yeah, okay. But do you know what really disappointed me? It wasn't until the second half that we had our first shot at goal. Our first shot on target was in the second half. We're the home team. And our first shot came in about the 58th minute, I think it was. And it wasn't until the 83rd and 84th minute, if I remember correctly, that shots number 2 and 3 on target came. And that was all she wrote.
Yeah.
Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Anyway, Pablo Fornal is in the number 10 spot.
4. Again, there was a lot of standing around. Doing a lot of this.
Yeah.
Well, they've got the ball. I'm not pressing. I can't be bothered. That's all the way over there. I'll wait here. While we're waiting for him to get to the halfway line or to the centre circle, if you will, why are we not pressing? Why are we not really getting up in their faces? Like, I don't understand.
That was the City game.
Again, it comes down to it does. It was the Viborg game as well. Let's not fuck around.
Yeah.
We're sitting there waiting. Don't get me wrong. I used to be a big advocate of, well, they can't do nothing with it there. Let them have it there. We're not in that position right now, Rob, to sit back and go, let them have it there, boys. They can't do nothing with it there because we're not doing nothing either. Yeah, basically we're in a situation now where I'm getting some grief. My text messages are flying in. My younger brother being one of them. Our fans turn so fucking quickly. It's a joke. 3 games ago, Declan Rice was £150 million and the best player, best CDM in the world. Now he's a prick. He is a prick, Dan. He's right in what he's saying. We aren't Manchester City. We haven't got Ireland up front. We aren't going to win any games. No, you're right, Dan. We're not. But I want to see a bit of passion. I want to see a bit of drive. I want to see a bit of desire. What I'm seeing from Declan Rice is a fucking zombie walking right now. And it hurts. But 4 for Pablo.
4. Oof. I mean,
There you go, Marsley. Is that good? Is that creepy?
I'll take what Dan's saying. I mean, Declan Rice, still for me, he's one of the best midfielders. But his performances of late have been below what you would expect Declan Rice to be. It's a bit like, sorry?
He's just had a new baby, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, he hasn't. He's the other half.
Well, yeah.
I was going to say, is that biologically possible? But no, I just sort of like
18 years ago. 8 years ago, my missus had a baby. I had 3 days off, and the night after the baby was born, I had to still go to work and put in a performance.
Yeah, true.
Just saying, we all have to.
Yeah.
No, he's still one of the best midfielders in the world. I stand by that. But at the moment, his performance levels, for whatever reason, compared to where he set the bar, it's a bit like us. We've had our expectations as fans raised because we escaped from relegation. We had good form there after the sort of like the lockdown was opened up. We then have a season where we finish 6th, qualify for Europe. We then get to the semi-finals of that European competition, aligned with finishing 7th, which gets us into qualification for Europe again. Well, everybody's expectations then get raised as a result. Well, it's the same thing with Declan Rice. Our expectations of his performances over the last couple of seasons have gone up because of his performance have been at such a high level. And now they seem to have bottomed out, whether it's because he's had a baby, whether it's because the burden of captaincy is maybe more than he was expecting. It's a little bit more than he was, anticipating. I don't know. But to be honest with you, the reasons I'm largely not bothered by. What I want to see is Declan Rice getting back to the Declan Rice that he was, last season, which is a million miles away from the Declan Rice we got at the minute. But I'm sure he'll come good. I believe in the saying, form is temporary, class is permanent, and he is a classy player. Anyway.
Yeah, great.
Jared Bowen.
3.
Oh.
Again, no real drive or desire. We don't have the ball. And again, we're just like, yeah, crack on. We get the ball, and for me, the entire team, this is not just digging at Bowen, but Bowen yesterday was poor. But we're going, all right, you go do something with it. Go on. Why are you not wanting to do something with it? Why are you not going, give me the fucking ball, I'm going. Give me the ball, let me try something. Come on, boys, let's go and do this together. There's not a single ounce of that from the 11 players that were on that pitch. From Fabianski at the back taking 45 minutes to make a pass or make a decision in his brain to be able to get the ball out, to Declan Rice going, I'm fucking captain, let's go, come on, to Benrahma Bowen going, give me the ball, let's make something happen. There's none of that throughout the squad, and I'll save you time. Antonio gets the 2 as well. There's a lot of huffing and puffing. He's like the big bad wolf in the story of the 3 pigs. Huff and puff and does absolutely fuck all else.
I don't really think there's any point in doing the subs, to be honest, because none of them really contributed that much.
I can tell you that. Put the sub screen up. Just quickly put it up.
You want the subs up? Okay, right.
Yeah,
There they are, in all their glory. Skamaka.
I can do it for you now. All in one. 4, 4, 3, 3, 0.
Ooh, you're giving Moyes a 0.
Yeah, I am. The guy's clueless right now. Absolutely clueless. Whatever's going on, whatever is happening, whatever the situation may or may not be, he hasn't got a clue. He didn't have a clue yesterday in that game. Once again, out-thought, out-marked. Listen, anyone would think Graham Potter's Pep. Anyone would think right now. But there's my point, Rob. He's not. He's the Brighton manager for a reason. He's not one of the big 6. And if Moyes can't outthink him for 11 games now, it's fucking embarrassing. And I'm at the point that in 3 games' time, I may well be Moyes out. Because if he can't change it, there's no point in him being there. And in 10 days' time, if the guy that got my 0 today doesn't put his socks up, he can fuck off as well.
Fair enough. That's strong words, Duke. Strong words. I take it you're going to disappear now, are you? Or
I'm going to have to, mate. I've got 15 minutes to get the last few bits of the pub set up, so I'm going to shoot off. Everyone, I love you all. Don't forget.
Cheers, Bob.
Thank you, Steve, for coming on and taking my place in the next few minutes as well. Don't forget, guys, watching, we have on Wednesday, we're going to do the Viborg preview. Rob, what time are we doing that? Can't remember.
Early, aren't we? Because I'm disappearing up to.
You're out.
Yes, so we're going to.
So we were going to do it, I think, at 9 o'clock.
9, 10 o'clock, something like that.
Between 9 and 10, but it can't be 10 because the missus has got a video call, so it's going to have to be 9. What,
your missus?
No, your missus. Did she not have a video call?
That's Friday.
So I do listen. Okay, so early Viborg on Wednesday. Yeah. Thursday, the game kicks off. It's on Premier Sports, which I have at the Lewisham Tavern. Way. So we kick off at 6 against Viborg. What I will say is at 7:30, we have a wonderful Q&A with a fantastic man, Mr. Stuart Slater. He's agreed to come onto the channel. Need to change them flower pots, mate. He's going to be with us from 7:30 on Thursday. So I might have to miss the last 15 minutes of the game, but the way we're playing at the minute, I don't think that's going to matter too much. Friday, again, I think we're going early, Rob, for the review of the Viable game. I think that's 9 o'clock, isn't it?
About that, yeah.
Saturday, I think evening, we're doing the Villa preview. It's a busy week for myself and Rob.
Yeah.
On forwards from mine. Guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to go jump in my West Ham on Micro chat, as it's now been renamed. It's not West Ham on Massive, it's West Ham on Micro. I'm going to jump in there and have a little chat with my brother and a couple of the others, and really cause some problems. Steve, thank you for coming on. Rob, I will catch you tomorrow.
Look after yourself, mate.
Yeah, take care.
And West Ham on Micro everywhere we go. See you soon.
Take care, mate.
Take it easy.
Cheers, bub.
Okay, over to you, Steve. Player ratings.
Areola. He couldn't do anything about either the goals.
Areola.
That's not Areola, Fabianski. And there's wishful thinking, isn't there? There's my subconscious overriding my speech centres. Fabianski, I give him a 6. Couldn't do anything about it. Yeah, 6 is about average.
You don't think he was let down by his distribution was ponderous?
Oh, his distribution was poor, but that's Fabianski all the bloody time.
I apologise for my dog having a little.
No, your dog's rather sweet.
She's not. She's horrible. She's horrible. Right. Okay. So Fabianski, you're giving a 6. So
Yeah.
Cresswell, what were your thoughts on him?
Oh, 2. I mean, that Cresswell wouldn't go boom if you put 50,000 volts across him, to quote John Cleese.
Yeah.
He was awful. I mean, James, you know, James and I were there, my son. And every time Cresswell got the ball, at one point, Antonio had to come back and cover for him in the first half.
Wow.
I thought he was terrible. Okay, so that's where I'm on Cresswell. I thought he was really, really bad. But no, he doesn't get my Z, oddly.
Ooh, wow. Someone's going to be plumbing the depths.
Indeed.
On home debut, first start anyway, Tilo Kehrer.
I give him a 5. I don't. Okay. He was left out to dry by Zuma suddenly thinking he was a centre forward. He did some good stuff. Yeah, very rusty, not quite ready. But then what other choice did we have? Did we have another fit centre back? So considering he's thrown in at the depths, yeah, I'll give him a 5.
Fair enough. Kurt Zuma.
Well, purely and simply for that pass, he gets a 3.
Was it a pass?
Well, who knows?
Looked like it.
I mean, what's he doing there? You know, defenders. Maybe we should give him a dictionary so he can look at what a defender is. And secondly, if you're there, do not give the ball away. You know, we weren't on top at that point, but we were holding our own. But that mistake absolutely killed us. He's not getting a low mark because I do think he's carrying an injury.
Yeah. That is mitigation. I think he's kind of being slung in there out of necessity, and his performances are probably not what they would be if he was fully fit. I think he has to have a little bit of mitigation for that. That is on David Moyes, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
A, for having him in, and B, for having a squad that's so thin that we can't rustle up some way, somehow, a centre-back that's at least as good as him.
Yep, yeah. But then we've had, you sign Guer for 30 million and he gets injured. You can't odds that, unfortunately.
No.
I am looking forward to Bonner being back in against Viborg. He was calm, he was composed, he was typical of Bonner. And at the moment, my ideal centre-back pairing is Bonner and Dawson. Because the pair of them will absolutely throw themselves in front of a bus to stop that ball going into the goal.
And also, I think that I haven't sort of mentioned this, but we did obviously, you know, that because you contributed to it, have your say video, which went out half hour before we started this stream, and young Jake Cox from West Ham Unofficial. And if you haven't already subscribed to his channel, go onto YouTube, put in West Ham Unofficial, and give him a subscribe. He referenced Craig Dawson and just said, you know, we need Craig Dawson in there for his leadership qualities. He's not the best he's not Bobby Moore, he's not Franz Beckenbauer, but he has a desire and a will to win, leadership qualities that it doesn't appear that at the minute any of the other defenders have.
And the same can be said for Oggy as well, actually.
Yeah.
You know,
but we are where we are. We're not where we want to be. But let's move on to Vladimir Kufel. What were your thoughts on him?
He was. It was a typical Vlad the Impaler sort of performance, wasn't it? I'll give him a 5. He wasn't spectacular, but he gave it everything he got in a team around him that were performing very badly. I mean, I'm a big Kufel fan anyway, but I didn't think he was too bad yesterday. Other people may probably see it completely differently to me. But I thought he was okay. He did his best in what was very difficult circumstances.
Fair enough. The captain, Declan Rice.
Oh, well. Someone put up his stats at the end of the game on Hammer's chat. What was it? Passes, 0. Interceptions, 0. Tackle 0. Passes, 0. No, I'm still wrong. Tackle 0. Interception 0. Passes 84%. 1 yellow card. Deck gets 1.
Oof.
I'm sorry, whoever it is, if that is your stats at the end of the game, and you're a defensive midfielder and you're the captain, no tackles, no interceptions for 90 minutes. And this is meant to be a world-class defensive midfielder. Now, I know Deck's a lovely lad. I know people who know him quite well.
Yeah.
And he is a lovely, lovely lad. But there is no hiding from those stats.
No.
Yeah, if I go to my job and say, well, I haven't done that bit, but I've sort of got 85% of that bit done, they're gonna go crazy at me. You know? Sorry, 1. And he gets my Z. Well, my Z is actually shared, if I'm honest.
Oh, no sharing allowed.
Okay, it goes to Deck then.
Oh. So two different people have given the Z to Declan Rice. Wow. I never thought I'd see the day. Goodness gracious. Okay. Thomas Souček, his partner.
Well, because I've given the Z to Deck, I can't give him the same mark as Deck. But I'd like to. I thought the way we're playing now and trying to keep the ball and pass it through doesn't suit him. Doesn't suit his skill set. And that's becoming more and more apparent. He's got to be dropped for the next game, in my opinion. I'll give him a 2, but I really want to give him a 1. But as I've given Deck a 1, Thomas Souček gets 2. But, you know, they offered them the freedom of our midfield yesterday, the pair of them. It was awful. You know? Yeah, there was no midfield contest. We said this at half-time and full-time, didn't we?
Yep.
You know, if you're not competing in the midfield, well, guess what? You're not going to achieve anything.
It's the engine room. I'm not being funny. I'm not a Premier League coach. I've got a coaching qualification, but it's not at that level. And even I was looking at how Brighton set up and went, we need another body in midfield. We need to change formation. 4-2-3-1 will get overrun. I turned around and said, you know, maybe playing a 4-3-3, whatever. Do something different. But Nope, same old, and
But
we know the rest.
It wasn't even that. You know, okay, if they're overrun, if they're outnumbered, fair enough. But put some effort in, guys.
Oh, don't. Well,
You know,
again, this was a point I made on the video that got put out half hour before we started here, and I got a little bit angry at one point. I had to sort of rein it back in, but the thing that really winds me up, and you know, they got to understand that people pay good money. It is not an inexpensive occupation to go to a Premier League game, especially
No.
if you're going with kids.
Yeah.
Okay. You work all week, you work hard, and you get your disposable cash that's left. And let's be fair, there's less and less of that now because of the way the world is. And
Yeah.
all I expect is to see 11 players and substitutes coming off the pitch afterwards and at least looking to me like they've had a go. And I didn't see that yesterday. That's the thing. That's where I'm at. If I looked and saw 11 players and they were having a go from whistle to whistle and giving everything, and it was obvious to me that they'd done so, then I'd say, do you know what? We lost the game. Fair enough. We had a bloody good go. Their goalkeeper was man of the match. We had shots cleared off the line. You know, you go, okay, fine. You know, we were putting in crunching tackles. Everybody was committed. It just wasn't our day. Fine, no problem. But I didn't see that yesterday. And for people that pay hard-earned money, they go to work all week. They've got not that much disposable income. They're probably having to make sacrifices to pay their season ticket, to pay their match ticket, to be able to take their kids along. That's the absolute minimum for me. And to not see that is absolutely unforgivable.
Well, it's like like the great interview with Roy Keane, isn't it? Oh, your players left everything on the pitch today, and he just turned around and went, well, that's the minimum, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember a couple of seasons ago, we went away to City. Nobody had scored at the City ground for ages, and we lost 2-1. But
2-1. Yeah, I remember that. Was it Sacco scored?
Yeah, and that was a hell of a performance, wasn't it?
I remember.
And all of us were going, you know what? I can happily live with that result because we couldn't have done any more.
Definitely.
You know, yesterday, I think yesterday was the first time I've ever laughed when a goal's gone in against us because it was just so bad. And that was a real shock to me. I didn't even realise I was going to do it. It was just my reaction. And that was a real shock. We've conceded. And there was no way back at 1-0. There's no, you know, we could play for another week and not score a goal here. It was awful.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm not often annoyed about it the day after, but I've travelled up, you know, from Essex with my son. We've watched the game, and I was just disgusted with it.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Right, let's move on. Continue with our rating, Steve. So Benny actually tried, and there was one point in the second half nobody was doing anything, and he actually tried to dribble through a group of players in the box, and he had a bloody good go. I'm going to give Benny a 6. I thought he put some effort in yesterday. I was, you know, reasonably pleased with Benny, and he had no service. Nobody gave him anything to work off, and he was trying to make it happen all the time. He was chasing back. He was harrying. No, for me, he was possibly the best outfield player on the pitch. But again, that's how I saw it. Fair enough. Pablo Fornells?
5. Ran around like a headless chicken. Didn't contribute an awful lot. But at least he tried. And I'm marking on effort now. I'm not marking on what they did in the game. I'm marking on, did they try? And he did. And that's one thing you can always say about Fornells. Whenever he's on the pitch, might not be skillful, might not be particularly impressive, but he runs like a crazy man, and he gives it everything he's got. So, yeah. 5 for Pablo.
Fair enough. Jared Bowen?
2 and don't play him in the next game.
Oh, you would drop him.
I'd drop him and I'd drop Souček and I'd drop Creswell. In fact, I would probably drop 8 of those 11 players if I could.
You know that Moyes won't do anything of the sort.
No, but Bowen wants to go to the World Cup. Okay, everybody's assuming Deck's a shoo-in for the World Cup. If he plays like that, he won't be. But Bowen wants to go to the World Cup. If he carries on playing like that, he won't get selected. No, I'd drop him. I'd drop him and Souček because you can't say Flynn Downs and Maxwell Cornet would not do a better job than those two.
Only one way we're going to find out. We're not going to do it if they don't get on the pitch or they get on the pitch for a limited amount of minutes. Do you know the thing that really concerned me? I saw a quote from David Moyes saying something along the lines of that the players that he's brought in that have not in the main been utilised in the Premier League to any great extent need to get used to the Premier League. Well, okay, I could possibly accept that with Kehrer, although he started yesterday, but that was probably more out of necessity than anything else. If Bonner or Dawson had been fit, I think he'd have probably started from the bench. But, with Scamacca, okay, fair enough. But Maxwell Cornet played in the Premier League last season, so that is a bogus excuse as far as I'm concerned for him not to be utilised.
And I have to say, that's a luxury we don't have with the performances of the players we've got at the moment. Those players, they've got, okay, they're used to the Premier League, but they're absolute rubbish at the moment. So what if they're not used to the Premier League? It can't be any worse. And
only one way they're going to get used to the Premier League, Steve, is that's to play them in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I've seen some terrible performances since the 70s. But yesterday was definitely probably in my top 3 of all-time woeful West Ham performances.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, I was embarrassed. When we're at home, we're chasing the game, and the Brighton fans are going Olé to us.
I cringed.
But that was a humiliating performance. But the players, they should be embarrassed by that. They should come off that pitch. And, you keep saying, they aren't happy with this, they aren't happy with that. Go and do it somewhere else then. Go somewhere where you want to be, because the grass is always greener. I have got no problem if we got good money at the moment, the way they're playing. If we got good money for Rice and Bowen, they could both go, because their contribution yesterday was negligible, and actually bring some people in who want to play and want to work hard.
The problem is, before we go to Antonio, the problem with let's just suppose bids came in for both of those players tomorrow. The bids were accepted. They moved on, and we got. Let's just plug a figure out of the air, whether it's accurate, whether it's correct. 200 million quid.
Yep.
Let's say it was 130 million for Deck, and then the rest on Bowen, right? Which is not inconceivable. Premier League is crazy. We've only got 2 weeks left of the window, and quite frankly, all that money. If you're the player that West Ham then subsequently go for, are you going to want to come to us? Because I wouldn't.
Yeah, but here's what I'm going to say, and I don't think this is true of Deck. Actually, I'm not sure it's true of Bowen either. But you're better off getting rid of players with a bad attitude, getting them out of the door, having people who want to play and being mid-table and build from there, than you are languishing at the bottom because your so-called superstars aren't turning up.
Do you think it's do you think that either one or both of those could
not possibly from Deck.
Be having a bad attitude?
Not from Deck. No way. I know too many people who know him. He's a good lad. Bowen, I think, might have had his head turned by this Liverpool nonsense. Trouble is, they're young men and they believe their own press. And we all did at that age. If somebody told you were wonderful and kept telling you were wonderful, you believed it.
Mm.
Age does bring a level, a more sober view of your talents. But if Dick's just had a little one, I know how much, my career was on a certain path. James came along. I gave up a lot of my management roles and stuff and just said, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to spend time with my family. And that was more important. And he's that sort of person. Bowen, I don't know, but he needs to be dropped. Needs a good kick up the backside. Sorry, you're not performing now. And that's what a strong manager does. All the best bosses I've worked for, if somebody's not performing, and there's one guy, a very close friend of mine, he'll give that person every support they can. But there will be a point where they carry on not performing and say, right, that's it. I'm benching you or whatever.
Problem is, Steve, is that the problem, and this is, again, I do hold David Moyes responsible for this because he said he's okay with a small squad. He's okay with, he actually prefers it, the sort of the camaraderie, the sort of tightness of the group rather than having a deep squad sort of thing. Yet as a result of that, okay, you're going to drop Jared Bowen, but who replaces him?
Antonio, and put Skamaka up front.
Maybe.
Antonio is a natural winger and he'd be a bloody menace there. Let's be honest. He's a menace going forward at centre forward. I would think you'd get more of a turn out of Antonio than you will at Bowen at the moment, or Cornet, or Ben Rama. We have got options.
Okay.
And for
Well,
the first time in a long while, we have some options.
Fair. You mentioned the name of Antonio, and that's the last player that you've got left to give a mark to.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to give him, and this surprised people, 6 for one reason and one reason alone. Okay. In the first half, everybody was wandering around. Oh, it's a ball, Brighton have got it. He's run back from the centre forward position to cover Creswell, a left back. And we're all, James is screaming, what's Antonio doing there? But at least he wanted it at that moment. And that was the most effort I saw from anybody on that pitch yesterday. So he gets a 6 because, that was impressive.
Is anyone going to get your hero award, or do you think none of them deserved it?
No, nobody deserves it.
No.
Yesterday, there were glimpses from a few players. There was I think my biggest frustration is Cornet and Skamaka come on, they create something. Towards the end of the game, Lanzini gets the ball and he hits the pass too hard for Cornet to run onto. Do you remember that bit?
Yeah.
And it was, no, I can't give anybody a hero. A couple of our players tried, but the rest of them were abject. And by the end of it, I was sitting there and I was just sort of, oh, good grief. You look at that, what on earth do opposition teams think of us at the moment? It's West Ham 3 years ago under Pellegrini, and I don't want that back.
Yeah, it is a little bit reminiscent of the last days under him. I do remember that.
And am I a big Moyes advocate? Yeah, I've always wanted Moyes to be our manager. Yep. I've always thought, and I've never been any different. Moyes is culpable in some places for this, but equally, those players are picking up a big wage. You get out there and you put some effort in, and that's what I can't get past, the lack of effort by the players. And I don't think there's any excuses for that.
Really quickly, Steve, we've got the substitutes and the manager to give your marks to. Just real quick, go in sequence. You've got Skamaka, Cornet, Lanzini, Johnson, and Moyes to hand your marks out to.
Okay, Skamaka 5, Cornet 5, Lanzini 3, Johnson 6. And Moyes. blimey. And you've got to understand.
Did he? Let's break it down. As far as Moyes is concerned, A, did he pick the right personnel? B, did he pick the right formation? C, did his substitutions impact on the game?
No, and slightly. Got to give him a 3. Can't give him any more than that.
Ooh.
You know, he needs to start his new signings. Why on earth do you spend 130 million and put it on the bench? You bought those players to make us better. Well, play them. Because I tell you what, they couldn't have made us any worse yesterday.
Walshy said that Moyes gets the 0 award. Do you think that that's a deserved tag that he should get?
No, because I think the players are also responsible.
Okay.
It's not all on Moyes, whereas Deck and his stats, that's on Deck. That's what he did in the game. And just wasn't good enough. And for me to be this angry about it the following day, it has to be bad. Because you know me, most of the time is on to the next game. No, I feel like I've just wasted my afternoon going up there.
Yeah.
And that is terrible, really.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
hey, we go.
Makes it interesting because obviously we're in a little bit of a conundrum, I think, and I'd like your thoughts on this because obviously that wasn't good enough, and I'm pretty sure that David Moyes will know that.
Yeah.
But what does he do? Because we've got a European game, and that tie is not in the bag. I don't care what anyone says. That tie is against Viborg is not done and dusted because that goal at London Stadium that they got has, for me, let's just hypothetical here, Steve. That ground is 9,000 in capacity. So it's not huge, but it will be a tight, compact ground. And you saw the support on because I know you wasn't at the game on Thursday. I was.
No, I
you would have watched it.
Superb.
And their support was really vociferous, really bouncing up and down, energetic. And I'm just thinking of a scenario. Well, if David Moyes puts out a slightly inexperienced team, let's say he puts Connor Coventry and Harrison Ashby back out there. And I think Harrison Ashby, I'll say right now, Milesy put it in the chat, and I've been saying it for a little while now. I think Harrison Ashby ought to be given more game time. And
I
don't think either. I actually did my what I'd have picked. And for this game, following on from the Viborg game, I'd have put Harrison Ashby at right back, personally. He didn't, and obviously we are where we are. But let's just suppose. So we go to the Viborg game. Harrison Ashby plays. Connor Coventry plays. Let's be honest; they've not got an awful lot in the way of first team experience. And Kent, you've read my mind of where I'm going with this. So the game starts. The support is noisy. It's vociferous. They've cranked up the atmosphere. Only 9,000 or so in the ground that you can get, but they're making an awful lot of noise. They score a goal after 2 minutes. As Kent's just said there, squeaky bum time. Squeaky bum time.
Yeah.
That's my issue. How do we cope with that? So it'll be very interesting because on the one hand, we want to get through against Viborg. We want to get to the group stages of this competition. But at the same time, a couple of days later, we've got a game that's now taken on massive significance in the game away at Villa Park. So what does Moyes do? Because it's like, well, he's got players that are out of form. He's got players that really he should be putting on the bench. But because of the size of the squad and the situation and all that, where does he go?
Right. I want a European run this season, but not at the expense of, say, potential relegation. Your bread and butter and your foundation's got to be decent league performance. And if you haven't got that, you sacrifice everything else to get it. That's my opinion. Others will say, no, that doesn't matter so much. But for me, it does. Being a Premier League team is the most important thing. So, not that I think we will, but then I didn't think we'd get stuffed by Brighton yesterday. I don't think we'll lose to Viborg. I'd sacrifice it for a win at Villa and some points on the board. And
sorry,
I
what I
never
was going to
thought
say,
I'd say
Steve,
that.
with that in mind, I mean, you say that you would drop Jared Bowen and Thomas Soucek and
Yeah.
Aaron Cresswell for
Yeah.
the Villa game. So would that mean that if you was managing and that was the way you was going to go, do they play against Viborg?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, put them out against Viborg and say, look, and actually what I would say to them is you've either got to play out of your skin tonight or you're not playing on Saturday.
Hmm.
And, you know, if Jared Bowen turns up and puts 4 goals in, yeah, fine. Start him, show him a bit of heart, a bit of desire. But if he goes out against Viborg and does what he did against Brighton, no, he's dropped. So, yeah, I would play those. My concern really is now Crizzy is just being found out.
I think the team's been found out, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, sadly, I think you're right. And I mean, you and I have been supporting West Ham for long enough. We've seen some dross, haven't we? But how many times have we seen this? And it all go pear-shaped from what is a decent position. And I'm just hoping that this can be turned around because I don't want it to go pear-shaped and just go back after 2 good seasons to being, you know, relegation fodder. We should be top 10 team every season now. We've been in the Premier League long enough. Relegation should not be a consideration. But I saw it under Roda. 7th one season. Next season, you know, the old joke was going around. Glenn Roda got stopped by the police for speeding. And when the officer came up to him, Glenn Roda went, "Oh, great, I'm really pleased about this." And the officer said, "Why?" You know, he said, "I'll do anything for 3 points at the moment." And, you know, I like Glenn Roda, and, you know, sad he's passed away, and he was a thoroughly decent guy. But that's what makes me nervous. I can see that season being mirrored at the moment. And that's a worry.
Yeah. Yeah, it is quite concerning. Well, we'll find out in the coming days where our season is probably going to take us. As I say, I think that the game against Viborg possibly might not be as easy as we think. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I hope whatever team David Moyes puts out there smashes them 5-0. We then go to Villa and obviously kickstart our season and possibly, you know, hopefully go to the game against the Spuds in a little bit of good form, because if this goes horribly wrong, and again, I'm exactly where you are, I'm exactly where Duke are. Am I advocating Moyes out right here, right now? No, I absolutely am not.
No.
He has done an awful lot for this club, and I think that he does need to be given time. Sadly, I do recognise that in the era of Premier League football, time and patience is not a commodity that is in ready supply with most Premier League chairmen.
We can't afford to have it.
Yeah, I'm like, look, even if we beat Viborg, but it was a scrappy, you know, performance, and we say we lost 1-0, we go through 3-2 on aggregate, but it's not terribly convincing. We get beat at Villa, we get beat by Spurs, which is not inconceivable. Would I at that point become Moyes out? I got to be honest. I think at that point I would start to go. I think he might have run his course. And if the bullet was pulled, if the trigger was pulled at that point, I probably couldn't have any complaints. No. Right now, I think it's too early. But in a couple of games' time, that might change.
And what makes it even worse for me at the moment is, I told you about this yesterday, for medical reasons, I can't have a beer at the moment. Mm-hmm. So I can't even drown my sorrows.
No, nothing to anaesthetize the pain. Right, Steve, we're going to knock it on the head there, mate. Cheers, Thanks for joining us. Guys, please don't forget, I did say, do you know what? I didn't do this earlier, and please forgive me, but what I will do is I will now do it. I've copied and pasted it, and I've put it in the chat. So if any of you guys want to go onto the link for the Iron Supporting Food Bank charity, which operates in the Newham Borough area, doing an awful lot of good work for needy families and trying to feed them, basically. There's a Just Giving link there, and please give generously as you can. There's no donation that's too small. As I say, they operate in the Newham Borough area for families that have fallen on stony ground in this cost of living crisis. We would thank you very much indeed, as they would, for any support you can give them. Talking of support, ladies and gentlemen, if you can please give your support to the channel by liking this stream, commenting on it, sharing the stream to your social media platforms, and subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. And make sure you hit that bell icon. And as and when we add any new content, you'll be notified straight away on your mobile device. And we thank you very much indeed for your time and support. Steve, what are we, my friend? Are you there, Steve?
I am, yeah. Sorry, I just had an incoming call from my eldest son, which sort of blocked everything up. So I'll give him a call back when we're done. But you know what it's like, kids. Another natural disasters. But yeah.
I'll edit this bit out.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it again. Steve, what are we?
Oh, bloody hopeless. I'm sorry.
That's the wrong answer.
Oh, sorry. We are moderately sized. I think that's about the best I can give.
I think I can't argue with that one at the minute. Come on, you irons. Keep
Come
the
on,
faith.
you irons. Cheers, mate.